Welcome back to Ferocious Education. This is Ed. Today I'm going to be talking about NKLA, Nikola Corporation. So I'm going to be going through technical analysis, going to go through news, I'm going to go through financial information, I'm going to go through the earnings coming up and what's the estimate, and then I'm going to go as well to how I would play the stock, including both short-term and long-term. I know this is not a penny stock, but it does sometimes trade like it, so it's kind of an interesting thing to see here. Before we move forward, please drop a like to this video to help this channel grow, subscribe to the channel to get more of these kind of videos, and share the video at the end if you like it. So first things first, you look into the 1 month, 1 day intervals. You get to see the MACD is curving up after a massive drop over there. You get to see that the momentum here is a little bit lower than the usual. It's sitting in almost all the way back to what it was on the 20th and on the 7th. Not really bad in terms of say, but it's kind of stabilizing at this point. Willing percent R puts the stock at oversold, and the average directional index does not show any trend that is moving. Now moving on towards the averages here, we don't have a lot of information since the merger, but what we're looking at here is that the 30 EMA is above the 10 SMA, which is bearish. Now going on towards the 1 hour interval here with a lot more data, you get to see the MACD is actually a little bit trading sideways, not a lot of movement in the last day. So the MACD tells us nothing here. ADX suggests a sloppy movement, which we actually saw in the last day, and the willing percent R puts the stock at a neutral, which we get to see here. Momentum seems to be a little bit curving up. It's gaining a little bit of momentum from what it did before, but it's still considered a little bit sloppy. The stock price is under the 200 SMA and 50 SMA, both are bearish, and 30 EMA is above the 10 SMA, both are bearish as well. Now let's try to look in terms of trends. So this is the 3 month. This is I believe this is the 2 month chart here. So not a lot of action here. It looks like it almost had a downtrend from onwards there. So let's try to look into the 1 month, 1 hour perspective and try to determine any kind of movement. So no trend lines that I can draw here, unless we're going on for a bearish one. I mean, a trend line could be something around here. But I'll do mention why this stock seen this kind of trend after it rallied for quite a bit actually. So let's move on to Fibonacci retracements before going to news. When we get to try to see here, we get to see that there is a little bit of a distance there for Fibonacci retracements. So I'm going to go first with additional resistances. Now the support is sitting in at 29 and 30. In terms of resistances, we're looking something around 30.89, and then we're looking at 32, and then we're looking at 33.97, 35, and then we're looking at a 36.31, 37.29, 38.43, and then we're looking at 39.57, 40.65, and then 42.48. Of course, forgot about here the $40 one. And then yeah, so pretty much from up there, there's a good uptrend. Good upside to it. So now moving on towards different news, right? So this is first, we're just going to go through the company itself. So this is Nikola website. There are a hydrogen-based kind of EV company for both trucks, and they also have more of a pickup truck as well brand to it. So I'm not going to go through a lot of it. This is the hydrogen fuel one. The basic usuals for kind of the electric stands for or the hydrogen fuel for trucks, so very similar to the electric stands. Yeah, so I'm not going to go through the exact details of the company's products, but you can get the idea. Their Nikola 3, for instance, is around 500 to 1200 in terms of range, up to 2700 NMs and 750 kilowatts with 10 to 15 minutes of refueling. They hope to have multiple hydrogen fueling stations across the US and Canada, so you can get to see where the stations they're hoping to have. Of course, it's something with that kind of range, you do need quite often of infrastructure in order to have that kind of pull for it, and to have a really good market with 10 to 15 minute refuel. That sounds nice, but you only have a map range between 500 to 1200. So this is the Nikola Badger, a very much look off the F-150 rather than the Cybertruck for Tesla. So they're trying to go on with the standard kind of truck. It really does resemble the F-150, especially with the lights and stuff. But I do get it here. You know, It looks to me, Cybertruck kind of grew on me, but definitely this is more of the traditional one, and they're sticking to it. So it's more of a battery electric vehicle or the fuel cell electric vehicle, up to 300 miles per range versus 600 mile per range. I wouldn't compare it right now to Tesla for right now, but they do have the sold out, the honey package. But that's more off for the people wanting to meet Trevor, basically. That's what I'm trying to get at. And then they do have the Predator package and the Instinct package. And that basically is just more of a deposit for this vehicle. Now going on, this is basically the same news as well, so just gonna move on quickly. Hydrogen fuel. A bit of more information there about renewable power generation, on-site conversion of electricity to hydrogen fuel versus via electrolysis, and then on-site hydrogen storage supply and a fast 70 MPa fueling station. A bit of technical terms there, looks nice. And then they have the Nikola World, and that's more off their, I believe, their off-highway vehicles. So I can see more of a jet ski here, military-graded fuel, electrical tactical OHV, and fully electric 4-seater OHV. Kind of looks like nice toys over there for desert and whatnot. So I'm gonna go now through filings. So this is the quarter two so the quarter two for 2020. That's gonna be happening on Tuesday, so on the 4th. The time of the conference is, or time of the earning is around 4:30. I'm gonna be talking just a little what the anticipation there for me is, and what I would do towards it, closer to it. This is quarter one compared to 2019 and the 3 month of March. Now there's a lot of different things that happened to this company ever since then, including the merger, different movements over there. But so far, well, 2019, they didn't have a net loss income. Here they have net loss income in terms of 124,000. Are you comparing in the earnings per share is going in from 0.03 to 0. So basically looking like the breaking even. So that's nice per se. But the net loss income here, they had almost closer to 810,000 compared to 125,000 in terms of loss. But again, as I said, there's a lot of growth that this company is trying to do. So with that kind of growth, you need massive capitals, you need massive spending for the next movement, right? So that's something to always keep in mind. 10K form here, I'm not going to go through it, just exactly as I said, different kind of structure. So going on through the presentation here, I'm just going to quickly increase my screen size. Okay, perfect. So not going to go through the exact same things in here, but basically they're trying to do a unique business model with estimated $600 billion in global TAM in terms of the market. So they're trying to have the world's most advanced hydrogen fuel FCEV truck, ideally suited to long-haul applications, enabled by world-class partnership and investment strategics. So they're trying to partner with different global commercial vehicles, OEM, and they plan the BEV launch in 2021 and the FCEV launch in 2023, and hydrogen 2 stations operation in 2023. Now, if you want to look at the BEV and FCEV, I did mention them, I think, around 2 minutes ago in a video. And they're trying to get strong demands from blue chip companies, trying to get $10 billion of FCEV pre-order books and 2+ years of orders with robust demand for newly introduced BEV trucks. So they're trying to get things like bigger corporations to jump on this one as well and get on this technology in terms of purchasing as a client. So what they're trying to do here as well, as it looks like, is they're trying to as well go autonomous ready with level 4 hardware standard. Now I do have a bit of experience in transportational engineering, a little. So level 4 is a little bit of an overstretch, perhaps all the way until 2030, but I would imagine that they would get as close as they can in terms of that. So level 4 is basically almost fully autonomous, with the driver possibly having to take in control, but it's really more about, I would imagine these kind of truck technologies would take a little bit of a while. Now, definitely what you want to focus on is the BEV, FCEV, and H2 stations, what you have first. And then in terms of this, the rest would be probably PRs in terms of development. The company is founded in 2015, so it's a little bit new in terms of their operations, and they got a way to go. I know their factory, I believe, still is not even under operation, even though I believe it was intended to on the 28th. So there's a bit of news there. We're probably going to hear about it on Tuesday. Not going to go through the exact milestones behind, but basically they have from vehicle engineerings, teams from Tesla, GM, Chrysler, Ford, a bit of different fields there. You get to look as well in terms of safety and supply chain, Nissan, Infinity, CSA Groups, NHTSA. So it looks like they got a decorated team there. Corporate functions, they got people from Walmart, Haynes Craft, COZ, Century Lanes, Michigan Law. So interesting stuff, including NASA Jet Repulsion Laboratory in terms of software designs. Let's move forward here and try to speed this up. So let's try, this is just compared to diesel, 100% electric and hydrogen electric. Basically here, just basically saying that the hydrogen electric for long haul is 500 to 750 miles compared to 100 to 300 miles. And refuel is 10 to 15 minutes compared to several hours. So trying to have a little bit of good exposure there. Let's try to move a little bit faster here. Just okay, so next strategy here. This is something you want to really look at. So begin limited testing with fleets in Q4 2020. That's PR Brewing there. Unveil first in Hanover truck in September 24th, 2020. That's another PR there. And definitely it probably would run closer to there, so you want to buy it before, for instance. Depends on, of course, what happens coming in next. What is it? Low volume builds in 2020-21 in Germany for prototypes. That's another PR. Q1 2021, that's a long haul. Let's try to look into lease engineering. Nope, that's there's a bit of there in the chart. Probably prototype builds, pre-series builds. Trying as well find whatever it would be in August. So it seems that still there is a bit of PRs to be coming there. Soft tooling build for purchasing and sourcing, that probably would be another PR. Engineering and development, supplier identification, sourcing, that's still going on. So now going on towards cash on hand and everything in between, right? That's an important thing that you want to know. So let's try to look in terms of digging here quickly. So you get to see basically different ownerships in terms of like Vector IQ sponsors, shareholders, existing Nikola shareholders, and pipe investors, and you see how it actually builds up to 100%, and it's sitting in at around fully diluted shares around 424 million shares. Just remember that number here because it's going to be very important. Now moving on towards some of the latest news that got the price to drop, right? And we saw it kind of did drop there. Before we go there, actually, no, I'm going to mention first what I have, and then I'm going to go backwards. So the 424B3 forms that suggests up to 250 million shares of stock being offered here, and basically what they say, we are registering shares for resale pursuant to such shareholders' registrants right under the registration rights and lockup agreements between us and the shareholders, which in addition suggests registration rights also provides for certain transfer lockup restrictions in such shares. We will not receive any proceeds of the shares of the common sales, etc., etc., etc. And then we're moving on. There's a bunch of almost identical kind of ones sitting in over there. The pursuant of the supplement relates offer and sales at time to time by selling security holders. They're referring to offerings there, whether direct or public. Usually Form 42B3 is more of an indication for raising capital. What else are we looking at? This is more of the same kind of spiel, sitting in at a Form 8K, so this is just more of a little bit of different indication for this company. Is there anything interesting here? Nothing that I see that we don't know already, that I haven't mentioned, so let's move on forward. Same thing, up to 53.4 million shares of common stock and up to 24 million shares of common stock issuable upon exercise of warrants. Let's move forward. So another 8K here. This 8K basically talks almost exact same thing. Basically, this under the terms of warrants and agreement, the company is entitled to redeem all the outstanding public shares if the sale price of the common stock is at least $18 share on 20 trading days within a 30-day period. So that's actually, you can actually, I believe, exercise these warrants as well. So the 23 million public warrants are exercisable aggregates of 23 million shares of common stock at a price of 11.50 per share, representing a total of $265 million in potential proceeds. Nikola, so amazing raising of capital there that could be possible. So what am I reading here? Is the company is definitely going to be looking to raise capital, right? They're getting the factories and whatnot. They're starting up. Where's that money coming from? Raising capital, whether it's offering direct or trying to get to sell different shares to other private entities, that is all viable, and it's hard to move off the table. Now, institutional buy-ins here, it seems to be strong. We were getting in a lot of shares coming in, and you get to see in the month of July, you're seeing a lot of green here, which are new positions. They all seem to be positive. A bit of puts there, here and there, around 5 or so. You're seeing a lot more attention that you had previously in June. So that's interesting, right? It says institutions are interested on it. So, why shouldn't I be? Insider purchases, I don't see anything there. Now, moving on towards earnings and how I would play it. I apologize on this video trying to be a little bit long. I'll try to cover everything I can. So theirs is on, as I said, August 4th aftermarket. That's confirmed with an estimated EPS of negative 0.13 with an estimated revenue of 20,000. How would I play it? So there's a lot of different kind of hype behind this stock, and I understand why. It's really nice long term in term on paper, but definitely what I would consider doing is, if I want to buy it, I would buy it now and then sell it perhaps on Tuesday, and then wait until they raise some capital, and that will happen sooner or later in the future. And even if the capital offering comes in around like $30 per share, it's definitely, at least I know that their shelf offering have been used, like their shelf have been used, rather than having this danger that I'm almost thinking, well, they need capital, it's gonna come sooner or later, and I might be a little bit scared. That's just me, because I don't really like risks. And definitely, of course, you could try to think about a share price. If they were to release an offering, let's say Monday, it's not going to be like a $40. It's probably going to be like 25. It's not bad at all, because I believe after the offering, the stock price would actually increase, because there's a lot of investors thinking that in their head. What do you think about this ticker? Make sure you mention down in the comments below. Share, subscribe, and like, and you have a wonderful day.